Hey everyone, here's my little drop from day 3 at the Arthur Findlay College. Just had a lovely lunch and I'm back up in my room to just rest before we start our afternoon lectures. And so a couple of things to report. My intention to shift my attitude into humility and also to address my attitude around what I believe I can and can't do, or what I'm good at and not so good at, yielded some great results yesterday. So lovely contacts, deeper psychic reads, and also particularly for me being able to accurately perceive a name of a person in spirit that I brought through for my tutor as well, because I was paired with her, which is always a bit nerve-wracking. But being able to perceive a name in spirit, some mediums are really good at it and it just drops straight in. I know this is your dad here, his name is John and this is what he has to say, but for me I've always held like a belief that that's a little bit out of reach for me. So yesterday when I was really checking in on what attitudes and beliefs I'm holding about different aspects of my work, and just suspending them at least as almost like a spiritual experiment to see how it impacted the result, really yielded some results. So super excited about that. And then today what we're really focusing on is the uniqueness of information and qualities of different people in spirit. So to move beyond, generic evidence, which is sort of good to start with, I guess, and then really moving into those idiosyncrasies, those particular habits, those things that really enrich the presence of the person in spirit as they're coming through. And one of the exercises that we've just done, which I thought was really interesting, was to pretend that we were in the spirit and our loved ones were in the presence of a medium, and what information would you give the medium so your loved ones would recognize who you are. And it was an interesting exercise. Like, I had to really think about it for a while. How would the kids know, or how would my husband know if a medium was bringing me through? So that was quite a good exercise to do. But what Pam, our teacher, is getting us to do is to, just through that exercise, is to open our mind to that way of thinking. And what I have been experiencing since I got here the first day, a few days ago, is that I'm being a little bit a step ahead of the guidance. So I intuit something and then there's either a lesson on it, a lecture on it, or an exercise on it. And also in the meditations themselves, being a little bit of a step ahead of the teacher. So the babbling brook comes into my meditation and then the teacher a few seconds later says, "No, I want you to imagine a babbling brook," and I know this happens in my circles as well, and I know a lot of you watching this will have had that experience too, but I quite like that when you're in altered states of reality or consciousness and it bends time a little bit, and you're just one step ahead of what's about to come. And I had that as well in the Zenacard work that we were doing on day 1. And then I had it again today because I got up this morning. There is so much food here. It's awesome, but there's just tons. And you are hungrier when you do this psychic work because I think your brain's working in a different way, your energy body's working in a different way. And you obviously burn up more energy because I'm starving all the time. But I decided to skip breakfast today and I decided to go for a walk. And there's this gorgeous walk out the back of the property of Arthur Findlay College. And it tracks down like this little country lane, and then you cut across a paddock and you get into town, where there is an excellent coffee shop with awesome coffee. And that was my mission this morning rather than having another big breakfast. But my instinct as I was walking and I was trying to connect again with my guides, we did a lot of that yesterday, and I'll talk more about that too, connection with guides in future drops. But I was connecting with my guides and I really had the impulse just to slow down and notice the little things, notice the sweet little hedgerow flowers or that feather or look up at a certain time and just instinctively be guided to where I was putting my attention. So it really transformed the walk from walking down a pretty country lane to deeply participating with all of the beauty and the colour and the perfume and the smells, and it was very grounding as well to do that, you know. So a little bit like for those of you watching that have children when they're really little and you're walking somewhere and it takes ages because they stop to examine the ant on the ground or the caterpillar on the leaf, or, you know, the wind as it moves through the leaves. And it's quite beautiful. That's a beautiful part of motherhood, really, because your children get you to get back to innocent pleasures like that. But so I was sort of in that mode this morning, and I had my phone as well, and as something sort of caught my attention, I'd snap it on my phone. So I'm going to do a little reel of all the lovely things that I was paying attention to. But then beautifully we come into the lecture, and it's all about paying attention to the little detail, you know, the little beautiful, unique, sensory, evocative detail that a person in spirit can bring through, which really deepens the sense of their presence, and also the knowing of the receiver that it's absolutely their mum or their dad or whoever it is that's coming through. So I was a little bit ahead of the guidance again this morning, which is super interesting. I love that. Anyway, so that is my drop. Operation Humility has been excellent and yielded much better results. And also understanding that when we pay attention to our uniqueness and also the uniqueness of what's around us at any one time, it bends time and it opens us up psychically and mediumistically for much finer, more beautiful layers of detail within the reads that we're giving. Hope that's got you thinking. Okay, everyone, I'll be back soon. Bye.